So basically, we will start today with a discussion with a very interesting problem that actually came up the last class after you guys left, and I think a couple of you wanted to discuss stuff with me. But this was something which Shubhranshu asked me, and I think it is absolutely a good idea that we all discuss this. I would like your opinion. So this is a very nice problem that Shubhranshu basically uh, sort of asked me. He brought into my notice. This is very interesting. So I will start posing this problem. But before that, let me share this whiteboard. Yeah. So what Shubhranshu asked me, there is very nice physics in this, was essentially about the Fresnel equations. Okay, Fresnel equations where so reactivity from a dielectric interface, and what his question was, so what we derived basically were the Fresnel relations, and that gave us the R parallel and R perpendicular, right? So his question was, what happens if I get in with light of mixed polarization? That is, and how can you get that? That is quite simple in the sense that, so yeah, the question basically is, what happens for mixed polarization? And so what do you mean by mixed polarization? What does the class feel? What is the meaning of mixed polarization? And how can you get it? How can you generate mixed polarized light? Huh? Can, by the way, you can all hear me, I hope. Hello
Yes,
there.
sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah. So what is the meaning of mixed polarization and how can you generate it? How?
Mixed polarization is like linear combination of both polarization vectors.
Correct. Absolutely. So that basically means it's a combination, or I should say maybe superposition is a better word. Superposition of P and S polarization. How will you generate it? How would you generate it? Huh? How?
Sir, you can take any unpolarized light and
Unpolarized light.
take,
Oh,
huh, and you can
unpolarized light.
use
Then
Brewster, then take a glass slide and then you use the Brewster angle. Then the transmitted part would be
nah, but
this
then
combination.
they they will go in two different directions, my friend. How will you
No, sir, only
recognize
the
them?
transmitted part.
Arey
The
baap re
transmitted
baap.
part is still partially polarized. No?
Okay, not not wrong. That is not wrong. You take it
So
at
why
booster
do you
angle.
use a
Uh,
linear polarizer that's like at an angle?
Linear polarizer. Piano. Acha, let me just note this. Let me just note what was just said. Who said this? Who said
So
this?
I said it's a piano.
Pianuj only said. No, no, not this one. I know Pianuj. No, that unpolarized.
Oh,
Hitesh.
Hitesh. Okay. So basically, what Hitesh says is unpolarized light treat at Brewster's angle. Then what you will get is then yeah, basically what he says is something like that. You this is your angle of incidence. You come in that light like that. It goes like this, and if this is like this, 90 degrees, this is going to be P, But Hitesh, at booster angle, then sorry, this is going to be S. Very sorry,
The
very sorry.
the trans
That is S. That is S. Yes, yes. That is S. This one. But how do you know that this is going to be polarized? We can say that only the S component goes out, but how do you think this will be polarized? Why? If I say that this remains unpolarized, how? I don't know that really. If you come in with like unpolarized, polarized, sorry, if I come in with unpolarized light, then I am not sure why will this one become polarized. I don't know why. I am not sure because
Sir,
at
won't the
Brewster's angle,
transmitted part be a superposition of S and P?
yeah, it is supposed to be if you come up with mixed pole, but if you have unpolarized light, then this one might reflect only the S part, the out of plane parts, but this one
Mm-hmm.
will it get resolved into polarized? See, what is the meaning of, by the way, what is the meaning of unpolarized light? The basic meaning of unpolarized light is that there is no fixed direction of the field vectors, right? They are all randomly oriented. So one can
Yes.
say that if you come at Brewster's angle, then only the out of plane one gets selected. I mean the reflected component. But this one, whether this actually gives you some, some sort of ordering of the rest of the polarization, that I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I
Uh,
mean, why if the S part, the reflected one, I agree that the in plane components will not be there, but the out of plane ones, will that constitute of completely polarized light? I don't know.
So
I don't know.
usually the figures we see for this Brewster angle, we see that
Yeah,
there is this unpolarized light coming in, and then this S is being reflected, and the transmitted part being
unpolarized light coming in. Unpolarized light, you see. Can you send me the
that.
reference? I don't know. I mean, whether this is unpolarized light, that I don't know. I mean, I can't find a convincing reason why the transmitted light will become polarized. Because what is there?
Okay.
See, because basically for the Brewster's angle, you can argue that this one will cannot have the vibration, the components that is perpendicular, because obviously the electrons are vibrating as the same direction as the light wave, so the k vector cannot be in the k vector and the field are becoming in the same direction. So therefore, you cannot have in plane. But this one, so basically from here, from this transmitted light, there are some S components which come out. It is purely S polarized. But this one might have some remnants of S polarization and P, which may be random. I mean, why will the P get organized in this direction? Just it's a refraction, right?
Sir,
I'm not sure. Hmm?
on the like this picture given on the Wikipedia is to say the incident ray is
Hmm?
unpolarized light. They have specifically mentioned,
They
and
have
then
mentioned
the
it's
reflect.
unpolarized.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me check. So,
Uh,
so
if
is
you
that
search Brewster
unpolarized?
angle,
Okay.
then open Wikipedia, then the first
Let
picture you'll
me.
see.
I can actually put it in the for the class. If I can download it, I can put it to the class.
Okay.
Brewster's angle incident ray. Yeah, that is what they say.
But sir,
Hmm.
if we see, it's like we can say that if I have a unpolarized light, it's actually
Hmm.
basically equal mixture of X and Y, or let's say,
But it's my thing is it's random, na?
yeah, exactly, because the degree of polarization will be zero. So
Will
in
be
the
zero.
transmitted case also, you can write that, yeah, it is a linear mixture of S and P, but the degree of polarization will be zero. So you cannot say that
Ha
it is a,
ha ha. Yeah. Exactly. So the degree of polarization is still zero, right? So that does not tell you that you get.
but
Hey, come on. It is. You only
but we
said
can
pass.
say that
So
it's a,
right. No, I'll pass. I'll paste it. I've got the thing. Acha, can you? No, of course, you can paste it, right? Where do you paste? Uh, here. Oh, wow, what is the hell is it? Why can I not paste? Edward. Good. Wait. It should be just pasting, no?
Sir, you
I
can just
copied or
drag and
maybe.
drop.
Oh, no. I just. Huh?
You can just drag and drop it on the whiteboard.
Just drag and drop it.
Yeah.
Make this smaller. Where? It's not selecting here. Let's save as. Where? It's the whole page you're saying. Where?
You have to download the image and then paste it in.
Download. Download. So, let me download this. Okay. Let me download. Yeah, so basically what it says, I'll just put it, it's still useful, I think. Quickly. Last, today is September, right? September days one. Days one, right? One. Okay. Then okay, then open it and drag it, you're saying. No? September 1. Yeah. Can you see? Nice. Right? So this is slightly polarized. So that is absolutely not unpolarized. So that is, I mean, it's not polarized. So basically the degree of polarization is very small. So there is some kind of ordering, but this is not a reliable way of generating unpolarized light. Right? So is that clear? So by the way, did you guys appreciate what Jivan said? So basically you have random mixture of S and P, but the degree of polarization is 0. So here you get highly polarized light. But this one, what you get, basically because there is some kind of ordering because this component exactly comes out and you get some of the components sort of missing here. So there is some sort of the degree of polarization is slightly increased. So this is still not perfectly polarized light. So this is not quite good. Okay. By the way, but then what somebody else, so Priyanuj was saying some, Priyanuj said as polarizer. So Priyanuj, okay, that might help in the sense that if you get
Yeah,
unpolarized light in front of a polarizer, you will,
yeah.
whatever
Within
component is in that,
45
right.
degrees.
Yes, but suppose you have the, you have uh, whatever, so basically what you're saying is unpolarized light polarizer, and basically what you will get is polarized light in the with direction so basically along the polarizer optic axis, right? This is what you're saying. That is kind of true. That might work. But then you're also aware that if I actually get in polarized light, I can't sort of use a polarizer to get a mixture. I mean, the polarizer will not change the polarization of polarized light at all. That is clear, right? A polarizer does not change the polarization angle of polarized light. So if I give you p polarized, S polarized light, the polarizer will not make it a mixture. Absolutely.
Oh, okay,
But
okay. Yeah,
that has to be
I think
very clear, please. So please, that is very clear. However, polarizer does not rotate direction of polarization. That is very crucial. Very crucial. Right? Now then, what is the most reliable way of getting mixed polarization light? If I give you light of a particular polarization. That is very, very important.
Sir, can you use a wave plate?
Exactly. Very good. So basically, the most reliable manner. Hey, this should have been you. All of you should have been able to say it. No, what kind of wavelet, by the way? Rohan,
Quarter wave plate.
by Chola. Quarter wavelet.
You'll get
Quarter wavelet
circular
will give you
circular
circular
beam.
polarized light will give you circular. Where is it a mixture of S and P? What a circular polarized light? You guys are always thinking theoretically here. I mean, circular polarized light you can write in terms of S and P, but it is not an S or P, right? The electric field vector is rotating. How is that S or P? You can break down into components. That does not mean that actually you have linearly polarized light existing, right? The way we understand is like that, but circularly polarized light gives you electric field which is rotating. So what kind of wavelet will you use?
Sir, half wave
Huh?
plate will give us linearly polarized light. Uh,
Obviously. So you come with p polarized light, it will give you a mixture, right? Because that is what a half wave plate does. Half wave plate will rotate the angle of the plane of polarization. Isn't it clear? That is what it does, right? That is exactly what the half wave plate does. Because if you are incident at a certain angle, then it gives you a phase difference of pi and all. But then what it does is, as you rotate the half wave plate, it will take the overall field vector and orient it in the direction of that thing, of the half wave plate, right? So then you can actually continuously rotate it as by just rotating the optic axis, just by rotating the half wave plate itself. Is that clear to everybody?
yes.
That is exactly what the half wave plate does. It is essentially the job of the half wave plate is uh, basically to give you a mixture of, can produce mixed polarization, and in fact that is what I said, right? Out of P or S polarization. That is what you guys forgot completely, right? That I told you that this is, so. What is a fantastic beam? Sort of the most. How can you suppose if my question is how can you generate a continuous beam splitter? So you know what I mean, right? Because typically what you have is what we had in the experiments that you did in the lab, with the ratio of transmission to reflectance were fixed. Typically it should be 50%, but it is difficult to get broadband performance when 50% for all incident wavelengths, right? So can you then let me see time? Yeah, maybe I'm compromising the time on the optics of metals, but I think it is important that you guys understand, because we are not doing face to face, and I think I want you to understand whatever I'm teaching. Yeah, so we have to just get these concepts inside you. So you understand what I'm saying, right? So suppose I want to vary the say transmittance. If I want to vary the transmittance by reflectance ratio continuously, what will I do? How will I do it? Hmm? How will I do it? What do you think? So I basically want to create a continuous beam. You understand, right? So typically we have 50%, 40%, 30%, 20%, whatever. 20% is useless, but we want to make it 50 by 50. But suppose I want a continuously varying beam splitter. What will I do? And I tell you that I have a laser, which is, as most lasers do, giving you polarized light. How will I make a continuously varying beam splitter? Huh?
We can just incident the polarized light on a glass slab and just change the angle of incidence. That should change both the transmittance and the reflectance. It is continuous.
That is a very weak, no, but that will now never give you 5% is very difficult to achieve. But in the sense that that will give you a, see, mostly it will be transmitted in a very small region, it will suddenly increase. Okay.
Yeah.
It will not going to be, it's not going to give you a nice continuous change. So basically, so let me just make this the mirror. This is another mirror. Now I have space. This is the way I deflect light. I want basically to create continuously of this. How can you reduce this rubberness? Yeah, okay, yeah. So how do you think I can create a continuously varying beam splitter? And what Priyanuj just now said, that is not a great idea, because you're mostly for glass and all, the transmittance will be very very large, and at a certain angle you can get like high, but then you can never get 90% reflectance per, and it is going to be very very difficult, and you will see a very large change. Over a very small region of angle you probably get high, but I don't think you will get all possible reflectivities, I think. So what do you think? So there are, let me see, conceptually I had described this many times, but somehow again we have not followed properly. But conceptually, just think, no, what can you do? Conceptually, just think, now that, given the fact that I told you that you can vary polarization continuously using this kind of a lambda by 2 plate, then what can you do? What do you need then? What do you need? And I have completely described this. This was even part of the setup that I showed you, following which we are, the components of which we are, I mean, the explanation of the components of which is basically forming this course. I told you about some element there which is precisely doing this, but it's very clear that it has not permeated in. And because I can't see you, and I mean, if you do not ask questions, then there's no way for me to understand unless you ask. Complete blank. What, man? What do you want? Learn to think. Now, see, you have continuously varying polarization. So what will you then need? So basically that means what? The ratio of P to S is continuously changing. So what would you need then to make a continuous beam splitter? What, yeah? At least say your thoughts aloud, no? Can you guys hear me, or am I gone or something? Hello? Shonai is writing something. Tell me, Shonai, don't write.
My microphone may not work that fine.
This is working well, very well. Okay, so you are saying something called a polarized beam splitter. What does that mean?
Depending on the polarization
Correct.
of the light, it will split. I mean, it will let it transmit or it will reflect the light.
Exactly. So that is called, so this is a lambda by 2, and this comes out and you get something called basically this is called, this is essentially called a PBS, or a polarization sensitive beam splitter, where this one is always P and that one is always S. Okay, so this is called a polarized beam splitter. It's typically, so these are also called, there are these Wollaston prism or Glan-Thompson prisms or all kinds of stuff. You will find out how these work. You can basically read about them if you want. Wollaston prism or...
Sir, we haven't used this in the lab, right?
I don't think. Mark Zender, we did not know. We did not. No, but
Yeah.
I...
Not
And
present.
even in the theory, we didn't study, so I don't know how do we supposed to come up with this.
Because I showed you that many times in my setup. This setup that
But
I
we
had...
never really discussed this. That there it was.
I told, that is what I say, yeah. If you don't understand what I'm saying, so see this. This is, what is this? I discussed this many times I mean, what this thing PBS meant, how it works. So that is the whole point, right? If you want me to repeat something, then I'm completely fine. But if I just say and now nobody says anything, they keep on talking, and then when I ask you this, there is silence. That basically means that things are not going good, right? Anyway, so this is what so now it is, and see, if you don't even know it, what I expect is how you would think, right? Because this is something which is just, you have a polarized light, and the only thing that you would basically need therefore is something which would basically just split light based on its polarization. That is what you exactly wanted, right? So if somebody came with that, then I would be fine. Okay, where was this? Anyway,
Sir, how it's
so
able to do that?
that will take the rest of the class, so please read up these things. I don't want to talk about that, but what I basically want to talk about now is if you were to calculate how you would, if you come in with mixed polarized light and incident it on a glass plate or something, how do you think the reflectance transmittance would go as? How would you calculate it? That is very crucial. That is what I wanted to discuss. How do you think you should calculate?
Sir, can you repeat the last part?
So basically, that is what I wrote here. No, that is what I wrote here. What would you get? What happens for mixed polarization? So mixed polarization. So basically, what I'm saying is, if you again write down, then I'm saying that if incident light is alpha p plus beta s, what would be R and T? This was my question. How would you do it? How would you do it?
Sir, if we have the polarized beam splitter, then we can measure the reflective.
No, Rohan, that is not my question. That is not my question. So basically, incident light on, so light is incident and falls on a glass slab. So just nothing but this. You have light that is falling on a glass slab, but it's not of a fixed polarization. Okay, so it's just getting reflected. So what will be the R and T ratio?
Is there any way we can figure out the alpha and beta? If
I'm
we can.
I know. I'm saying that suppose you don't. I mean, maybe you can. I'm saying maybe you can, but suppose you know alpha and beta. Okay, but how will you still find out R and T? Because remember, the things that we know, what we know are just R parallel and R perpendicular, right? But then neither of these are correct. So what would you do?
Do you want a theoretical expression or the measurement?
Expression, how would you generally go ahead? That is my question. So
So
what would you do? What would you think? Yeah, tell me.
So R, I think, should be alpha into P into R
Correct.
P plus beta into S into RS.
Okay, okay, okay. Yes, that
That's
is
what
so
I
basically.
was telling, that
So
if we know
what
alpha and
Rohan,
beta, we can
what you
write
guys
them.
are saying, we'll basically have this, right? This is what you're saying, right?
Yes.
Correct? This is the conceptual stuff. Very good. Now, if you have this, is this the amplitude or the intensity?
Amplitude.
Very good. Now, intensity will be what? This is the amplitude. Intensity will be this, right?
Yes.
Right?
Not exactly square. Like if it is complex, then I think mod square is a better way of writing.
Okay, but then typically this is well. I mean that complex will only come after critical angle and all. And yeah, that is okay.
Yeah,
I
but
agree. I
I
agree.
get the point.
I
Square
agree.
it.
For a general thing, it should be complex. I agree. Yes. For a general thing, we should write it as complex. Right. But the crucial part is this is not a correct. Okay, so then you actually will get some these type of terms, right? Right.
Yes.
What will these terms be?
Like I don't know what
Ah,
physics mean.
you'll get right. You'll obviously get. You'll get all the cross terms. You will get 2 times this one. You'll get the. So this is basically going to be what? Alpha square r parallel square plus beta square r perpendicular square plus this into alpha beta. Physically, this is what you're going to get. But mathematically, this is what you're going to get, right?
Yes.
Now tell me, physically, are these going to make sense? Physically, what do these mean?
The
Physically,
terms.
cross terms means basically what?
I think the cross terms comes on the fact that because it's mixed, we don't know exactly at a certain
No,
how they are
Priyanut,
coming.
cross term means they are doing what? They are actually interfering, right? These are
That-
interfering terms.
yes,
Will they interfere?
they should not. They are orthogonal to each other. Yes.
Yes. So these are zero.
Okay. Then it's zero.
Do you understand? So if you blindly do this and you include this and add, you're wrong. What you have to essentially do is just this. Uh, this is what is the correct answer. But the thing is, obviously, if you measure, you will actually find out something like this. But crucially, if you calculate and you calculate this whole thing, then you'll get a wrong answer. Because this obviously, if you do the math, there is no reason for this to be wrong, right? I mean, in this sense, there's no reason to drop out these terms. But physically, they basically mean that these are into. This is because these correspond to interference, which is 0 for E and S superposition. So you have to be very careful and ensure that what you actually are doing is just this. So this is actually nice. I mean, in principle, if my lab were open, I would actually ask some of you to maybe come and verify this, because I have not seen this, absolutely not seen this in any textbook. Okay, whatever I have seen in this Fresnel, this thing is not covered. Okay, and the next question that I come to, even more interesting. What can you guess the next question, if you see, guys? What is an interesting question for you? Very interesting question. Kind of related to this, which the Fresnel equations don't tell you at all. But what do you think is a very, yeah, I mean, if you're thinking, uh, can you come up? Yeah, bolo. Huh?
What happens if circularly polarized lights?
Against that is an equal mixture of R and S and P, right? So that should be just let me write down what happens to circularly polarized light. And what does the class feel? What does the class feel?
So there won't be a huge difference. It's just one of the alpha or beta will be a complex number.
No. Alpha and beta are same there, right?
Yeah,
It's basically
but
mixture
one
of
will be, imaginary, right?
even again that is amplitude intensity wise. So okay, Priyanut, so what happens when you have circularly
Yes.
polarized light incident on a polarizer? You keep on rotating, does not change, right? Intensity is constant.
Yeah.
No, sir. Then you will not get that cross terms. That's why he's saying.
Oh, that is
And
an
he's
interesting
correct about
statement
it.
actually.
Yeah.
That is actually an interesting thing. If you will not get a cross term in the sense that will you what do you yeah, that is a complicated question actually. Circularly polarized light bane you have yeah, that is actually complicated in the sense that
No,
you have
he's correct actually. Means alpha p plus I alpha a.
yeah, it's basically
So
alpha
when
plus I beta, right? No, but you won't get Panaki. That will still be zero, na? You will get an alpha dot beta term, right? I mean, R parallel dot R perpendicular you will get anyway, and that will still be zero. You will still get that, right? If I break down, so if I write say RCP as say P plus IS, that is what it is, right? And these are 50%. Then you will get a P dot S term, right? So
Yeah,
that will
exactly,
be
sir.
same.
Basically, you will get a elliptical polarized light.
Yeah, you will get same. You will get the ratio will be it will be same as uh, uh, same as I think this
sir,
will be
when
same as 45-degree linear. Don't you think so?
when you are
When
doing the intensity, na P plus IS dot P minus I. Then it will be just P square plus A square.
so that is the same when you have 45-degree linear also, right?
Yes, means no. This means in mathematically also. you don't have
Mathematically
that
also
term.
it will be whatever. So it will be basically same as 45-degree linear. But what is another nice question that is, I think, yeah, I don't want to give you the question, please. You are only, anyway, please, I don't want to give hint also. What other question strikes to you? And that is actually a very sort of tacit assumption that we are making in the Fresnel relations entirely. Something we are just assuming. Yeah. What other question comes to you?
Magnetic media or something.
No, that is complicated. Are Baba. Oof. Are whole Fresnel premise is based on what kind of light? What kind of light?
Polarized light.
Monochromatic.
No, one guy monochromatic is correct. But I heard one guy being cut off. You did not complete what you were saying.
Monochromatic.
Monochromatic to fine. That is okay. Yes, but somebody else was saying something else.
Oh, polarized light because we only use
Yes, exactly. What happens for unpolarized array? What happens for unpolarized light? What happens for unpolarized light? What happens for unpolarized light? I have not seen any textbook talk anything about this. What do you think? I don't know actually. If you ask me, there is no theory given anywhere, but I have a hunch. And let me see if you guys, we come up as a class, if we come up with the same hunch.
Sir,
Huh? What? Rohan, what?
Oh, I thought he was talking. I was saying that
No.
I don't get the difference between
Arey?
this unpolarized light and other the mixed polarized light, because the results will
Why?
be similar, I guess, because we can still write
Why?
the combination of
No.
unpolarized light as a
No.
combination of P and S,
No,
right?
but there are all possible angles, right? I mean, it's a mixture of everything. What will you take as alpha and beta?
So
It is
you
all
just
possible for this thing, right? And no. Wait. So understand this, Rohan. Even if you come with a mixed polarization, there is a certain angle of the electric field, and that
so
is constant.
that is fine. You just take
Now
infinite
you have all
basis.
possible angles.
You just take infinite basis and then see the result.
Arey
It will be
Baba,
similar.
that is very complicated. So what do you think will be the answer, Baba? You think we have to do a complicated simulation?
No, I'm saying that the answer will be
What?
similar. Alpha square
What?
plus
Similar
beta
money
square
what?
plus.
What is alpha and beta? Arey? There is no ratio of alpha and beta. No, both are. It is what is alpha and beta? That is the whole question.
So both
What
alpha and
are
beta is 1 by root 2.
So, sir,
huh?
what? Okay.
No, but very crucial question, guys. I have for you. If I change the angle, will there be a change? That answer is what. So who gave that? Oh, it's so irritating not to see your faces here. Very irritating. Who said that just now? 1 by root 2?
Sir, me, Anirudh.
Are me, you, huh? Who?
Anirudh.
Anirudh. Anirudh is back.
Yes, sir.
Arey Baba. So you are, what happened? You are doing, where are you?
I am at home now.
Arey bhai, very good, very good. You're back for doing your voice has become very thin. How
Yeah.
come? You coughing or something?
Yeah.
Arey, very good, very good. It's really quite, and it feels quite good, really. Very, very good. Great, you're back. And you gave a very, very good answer also. Very good answer. But then, yeah, Anirudh. So, very, I think, yeah, so basically you're saying it's going to be half,
Yeah.
right? So, my question, does the class agree with that?
Yes, a little, I guess.
Sir, that is only for 45-degree, right?
No, exactly, Rohan. So, one possibility is alpha, beta, sorry.
So, sir, do you get?
No, wait, Priyansh, let me finish this. Let me not just come to the next question. Wait, very crucial. Very crucial. Let me just write it down. Let me write it down. Otherwise, I'll lose my structure. Will go. What happens if angle of incidence is changed? This is what Rohan was saying, right? This is what Rohan was saying. What happens if AY is changed? What do you think will happen? This is very crucial. You understand, guys, right? Because the whole purpose of Fresnel equation is to do this. You keep on changing the angle of incidence, the reflectivity changes. For unpolarized light, if I change angle of incidence, what should happen? Pianuj, were you going to say that?
No, sir. I just want to give an explanation why would be 1 by root 2. Just because it's unpolarized light, now the coefficients are not distinct. They should be the standard average, right?
Yes. So this is similar to what? This is similar to what? Similar to what? Can you give an example?
When we, I think what was that law? I forgot.
Forgot. Forgot kya? Forgot. This is Akbar's birthday. Forgot. What forgot? Argue. No, there is one case where you get this. That is what? What?
Sir, if you pass unpolarized light through polarized light,
similar
I by
to unpolarized light through polarizer.
Yeah, so I just wanted a clarification that is why the 1 by root 2 comes
Exactly same. Exactly same. But what happens if the angle of incidence is changed?
So alpha and beta still should be like 1/√2 only.
No dependence.
Yeah.
Great, great, and this is very interesting. So Jivan and Vishwajit, do you agree to this? Huh? Yes, guys.
Yes.
This is very nice, right? So I
Sir,
really. Huh?
I wasn't saying this. I was saying that
What were you
how
saying?
this
What were you saying?
how is the equal proportion of P and S created?
So that is what Rohan. Hey, yeah, Priyanuj, please answer that question.
Sorry? Oh, can you repeat the question?
Rohan, I didn't repeat. Rohan, repeat the question.
So the P and S have equal proportion here. You are saying that it is equally 1/√2 and 1/√2. Why can't we have something like 20% and 80%, something like that?
Why can't we have? Mm, no, because it's random. Like because it's random, I think it would be uniformly distributed in both. It's random at each point, but it's uniformly distributed. That's why I think both the coefficients come out to be the same. Like, why would there be a bias in a random process which would allow 80% and 20?
Okay, I was still thinking that this alpha and beta we are discussing with respect to mixed polarized and not
No,
unpolarized.
but Rohan, but Rohan, it is important, right? Because the structure would be like that. The
I got
structure
it.
would be basically that, right? And the only thing is that what would you take this? By the way, there is a very interesting. So, guys, this is something which I must admit I am not completely sure of, because there is a possibility that the overall intensity will reduce to half. That is there. I don't know that, because if you guys remember, or if we take unpolarized light and pass it through a polarizer, then actually it becomes independent of the angle of the polarizer, but the overall intensity becomes half of the input. So I think a very similar thing you might actually get here. So, but then so basically what my guess is, it will essentially become the reflectance will essentially become something like n1 minus n2 by n1 plus n2, which is the case for normal incidence. I think it will just be a ratio of the refractive indices. This is my guess. But then whether the overall thing, overall amplitude or intensity will fall by a factor of 2, that is a possibility. That I don't know actually. The reflectance will be surely this, but because all the possible angles are going to be summed over, maybe what we should get is some kind of a I average. No, sorry, not this. I should get something like
No, sir. Due to reflection, there will be no change in polarization, right?
something like this. What Vishwajit?
If due to reflection, other than Brewster angle, it will not change, right? Means the polarization will not change for reflection.
No, not polarization, Vishwajit. I am saying the overall ratio. You understand? So
if polarization does not change, it remains as unpolarized, right?
Yes,
After
it should remain
reflection.
as it should. So then there should be right. So it should just be a ratio of this actually. It should just be a ratio of this. So then it would just basically the fraction that you get here, that part you are going to get reflected and the rest you are going to get transmitted. Most likely that is what you are going to get. Right? So this is probably going to be I average I by 2 plus I by 2 or something like that. Right? So you will basically going to just get something like, right? So half of it will be P and half of it will be I. Right? Something like this, I guess. Right? So you will basically get half as like average polarization. I mean, light will be P and average will be I, and therefore you should basically get just I. Total will be just whatever the total of incident will be equal to reflected plus transmitted. I think it will not get sort of, it will. So, for example, in polarizer, what happens is some part of it just gets sort of, I mean, the polarizer, so essentially, I think it gets some part of it gets reflected back or something like that. So here, because what we typically see, if you take unpolarized light and pass it through a polarizer, then what you get is half transmitted. So the half of it must get reflected or something out. Right? So here what you're basically going to get.
Because quantum mechanically, it with just one state.
Sorry, what? What? Sorry?
When you are passing through a polarizer,
Ah.
yeah, so when the light is passing through a polarizer, it will with one particular state. So maximum possibility is half.
Maximum possibility is half. Right. No, but again, as an experimentalist, you have to ask where does the rest of the light go, right? Does it get absorbed? I would say I think it gets reflected away or something. I don't think it's absorbed, because for large thing, then for large power, then the polarizer will get hot. That is not something which I have seen. Okay. Anyway, so does the class agree to this? Because this is not something that is there in textbooks. But I think we are discussing this. But I think this is nice. So I think this this discussion is something which really makes you think. I am perfectly fine with maybe trading off one of our classes. Like, I mean, ideally we would have had a different type of this thing. But anyway, so what I would still end today's class, metals to Gaya thing. Anyway, but I would still continue this class to a certain this thing. If I ask you guys to verify this in the present situation, can you guys do this? First of all, let me tell you, this is not something easy to verify. Tell me why. Tell me why this is not very easy to verify. Huh? What? Tell me why this is.
So which part exactly?
This part. This can verify this. Okay, let me use a nice red pen.
Sir, also, what was the conclusion of the discussion? That what is the reflectance? And
conclusion is that no dependence on incident angle. This is really strong, right? It should not depend. The reflectivity, no dependence on reflected angle. Can be off R and T. Will you understand what I'm saying? Is that clear, right? Reflectance and transmittance should not depend on the incident angle. This is crucial. This is the whole Fresnel theory basically is for polarized light. So what we are stating here is that if you get unpolarized light, then irrespective of the angle of incidence, you should get same reflectivity, for sort of a glass slab or something. You should just get the same reflectivity anyway. I mean, irrespective of the angle of incidence. You understand what I'm saying? I'm saying that
we don't know the angle. Then how can you verify this?
What? Sorry, I'm basically saying that this is my. Oh, why not? Why not? Why do you not? Why do you know the angle? Why do you not know the angle? Are bhai? Oh, you are. Oh, these guys. Rohan, is that Rohan? Very bad. Angle of incidence, of course you know. Angle of polarization, you might not know. Incident angle. Oh, really? You are brilliant. So what I'm trying to say is, suppose I have my surface like this. This is my normal, and this is also my incident ray, and this is my reflected ray. And now I turn this surface like that, right? So that this is my normal, and this is now my incident ray. So I now have the reflected ray. Oh, this is getting very messy. Let me now rub this in a bit.
Then why is it difficult? We can just rotate the.
Yeah. Okay. Let me come. Wait. Okay, maybe it's better to draw something like this. This is my incident. This thing. This is my incident ray initially, and suppose normal incidence. and then I make angle, and I have this angle. Okay. Initially we have normal incidence, then AOI is some theta. What we are saying is that the reflectivity remains. Reflectivity is independent. Oh, independent of theta. Okay. Let me finish today's discussion by invoking you to try this out. How to verify? What are the challenges? Challenges, tell me. Rohan, you think it's very trivial. Somebody else can tell me the challenges? What is the main challenge?
Sir, you had said something specifically in the last part, which is like you said this is very hard to do. Which part were you?
Yes. I want you to tell me what is the main challenge.
Sir,
What
is
is the
it
main challenge?
because it is hard to get a source of unpolarized light which would
Very
be
good. Very
strong
good.
enough
Very
or
good.
yeah.
Not strong enough. Tell me, where is unpolarized light? What do you wear, Rohan? How do you get
Yeah.
unpolarized light? All lasers are polarized. Even your pointers are polarized. Where do you generate your source, re bhai? You're saying it's very trivial. Where is your source
Sir,
coming from?
I was saying trivial because you said that we can verify
Yeah,
this now.
yeah.
So
Very
I
much.
was going to do it
Yes,
computationally.
yes. Oh, Baba, you are a theorist. What, man? You did such a good experiment for that thing.
No,
You are
no,
becoming a theorist.
no. At home we can't do experiments, so I was
You
going to.
can't do. Yes, this is my challenge to you. I want you to do this. I want this class to take it as a project and do this. And I'll tell you how to do this. Let me have ideas. What? I'm not serious. I don't mean that there cannot be any unpolarized light. What is a good source of unpolarized light?
Sir,
Sunlight.
normal tube light or
Sunlight.
normal
Okay.
bulb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody
Any
said
tube light.
something. Somebody
Tube
said something. Sunlight is partially polarized. That is not correct. But yes, tube light. Very good. Or incandescent bulb. Or even LED bulbs. LED bulbs. They are mostly unpolarized. Okay. So then what do you need? That is that. How will then you have your source of unpolarized light? You tell me, you have no access to sunlight, no access to tube light, no access to LED bulbs? Of course you
No
have.
measurement instrument. Like how can we measure the reflectance?
Think, think. What is your detector? What can be your detector? Think. I agree. Detector.
So we
What will
can
be the
take a
detector?
photo and do the image analysis.
Yes. Who said that? Hitesh.
So it's Ashutosh.
Huh? Who?
Ashutosh.
Ashutosh. Ashutosh is the guy who is a real experimentalist among you, I must say. Camera, just camera. Take an image by your camera. So essentially, what I want you to do is take a oh god, horrible source. Take a source of light, make a slit, get a collimated beam, take any kind of a glass surface. If you want, I would say, somehow you can get a microscope slide or something, that is ideal. But again, these are home experiments. I don't really want precision. I want you to, try this out at some level of error. I mean, you must know the error that, that you have in the apparatus. But you take some kind of a glass surface. In principle, you can take a mirror as well. Mirror, and a mirror is not difficult to generate if you have some members of your family have a makeup box they have those round, very very good mirrors. Those can actually work. You can probably get one from somewhere. Otherwise, just if you take a low. So Shubhranshu, I think Shubhranshu, are you there? Shubhranshu, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Shubhranshu, whole class. No, but this discussion was necessary. You raised a very good question. But I hope you have not been bored in the class, because I think this is something which we all needed to discuss. I think it is useful. So one thing that is possible is you can probably take a low power spectacle lens. That is possible, or else you can take even chip off maybe I don't know, some glass sheet from somewhere, or even if you have a table, even a glass table is fine. Okay, but the important thing is somehow you have to rotate the source, that is important, or the surface, and take images. So this is basically a slit. This is your source. Take images. Ensure image does not saturate. That is crucial, because if it saturates, then essentially what I want you to do is process the image through ImageJ. Process through ImageJ. ImageJ, everybody is familiar with? Huh? ImageJ? What?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay, so those who are not familiar with ImageJ, please familiarize those who are aware about ImageJ. Okay, maybe put a software. So Rohan and somebody, you guys are quite familiar with ImageJ. I know that. Everybody who did the fiber experiment must know ImageJ. So please, that's a very simple image analysis software. So I want you guys, whoever knows ImageJ, to educate those who don't know. But I really request you. So basically, just change the angle of incidence. Just take 2, 3, 4, I think, angles, whatever you can vary, and try to think, right? Do some innovative way of measuring the angle of incidence.
But like when you rotate the source or whatever, and you get separate images, those images might be taken in a different setting, like a different.
Yeah, so basically,
how do you
no,
normalize the?
No,
like,
but setting क्यों change होगा? I mean, see, if you can,
like
so
auto
no,
को change हो गया तो.
no, auto क्या? Oh, you're
As in
setting of
like
the camera, you're saying. No, so
I'm saying one
that I
picture
will.
taken in a
I
higher.
know. So basically, what I'm saying, Anirudh, best is to use DSLR. If you don't have DSLR, then you have your mobile mein. If you have mobile camera mein, if you have a professional mode, because that basically allows you to set the intensity, I mean the shutter speed and the aperture. So don't change that. So most
Sir,
of you,
everyone might
I
not have that.
know that I agree. That is a problem. Yeah, that is a problem. Yeah, that if everybody doesn't anyway, so that is means I can't help you with that. Yeah, I agree. So not all of you might have a pro mode camera. So what Anirudh said is, did everybody appreciate that? So what he said is, if the camera settings change, then you cannot compare. Which I possibly agree.
Sir, maybe those who don't have pro mode can like do it in a group or something.
Sorry, what? They can?
Those who don't have pro mode, they can ask their friends and collaborate
Yeah,
and do it.
whatever. See, I want to see, guys. I don't want to see. I am not giving this as an official assignment, okay? Because I think that's grossly unfair. But obviously, if you were an ISER, I would have given this as an assignment which everybody had to do. So then maybe why don't people who don't have pro mode, why don't you do this as a theoretical simulation? That at least you can do, no? Guys, can you do that? At least convince yourself that this works. Because I'm very serious. I have not seen this in any textbook. No textbook tells how you should deal with unpolarized light when it comes. I mean, I know that Fresnel equation, I mean Fresnel relations are with polarized light and all. But typically, at least you know what happens if you come with unpolarized light. That should be worth some discussion, which is not there. Okay, so I really invoke the class to come up with this. So let me just I will even write that point.
Sir, the main problem is measuring the incident angle that we didn't discuss.
Innovate. I will not tell you. There are many ways, boss. Please draw perpendicular incident angle AOI.
Sir, if you have tube light, how will you measure?
No. That is the main thing. Make a source. Make a slit. Make a slit. Make a slit. Means basically take some kind of a cardboard or something. Make a small hole. Try to get collimated light out of it. Make a small spot. You understand? Make a small spot of light. That you can do. Who asked this question, by the way?
Sir, Ritesh, but then again, the
Ritesh.
intensity will decrease a lot.
Yeah, I don't care. But that is exactly what you want.
And then there will
You
be a lot
don't
of
want to
errors
saturate
as
the camera. No, but Ritesh, remember, you don't want to saturate the camera. Angle of incidence is use a slit to collimate input light. See, guys, this is an experiment that you are doing, and I do not assume that you are going to. So, remember, this is an experiment. There will be errors. Obviously, I don't want a result which is going to tell me that there is going 100% sure we are seeing no change in reflected light intensity. Impossible. I will not disregard your experiment if you don't tell me there's a 10% variation. Okay, it may be better. But please, there will be errors, yeah. See,
no,
this
sir,
is
that is fine. I was talking about the magnitude of errors. Like,
see,
if they are too
Ritesh,
big, then you won't be able to arrive at the
I agree. If you are seeing a 50%, no, but it may be wrong. What we are saying may be wrong. I mean, I don't think we are wrong. I absolutely don't think we are wrong. But I'm saying that even if you have 15% error, that might be. And so, suppose you get a laser. So, okay. Let me just write this down as well. So, if possible, compare with a laser. Compare with a laser pointer. Compare with that.
Sir, we don't have a
You
laser
may not
pointer.
have, but see, laser pointer, it's like 100 rupees. If you want, can buy from Amazon. It's very, very cheap. I mean, $100 and all, whatever. Okay, I'm not saying that this is, again, see, this is for your interest and education. Okay, I'm not forcing this upon anybody. Those who can do this, please do this. Those who can't do this, okay, fine. I am not, we'll at least share the results of those who can do. If experiments are impossible, try to simulate at least.
Sir, if we are using laser pointer, but you said the source should be unpolarized.
No. Wait. I am saying compare with the laser pointer in the sense that you will get a difference. You understand? For laser pointer, you will get a big sort of dependence on angle of incidence. Whereas, so suppose, as there is a lot of error anyway, suppose what you see is that for a laser pointer, you are getting you are nicely sort of, getting the variation as expected with the Fresnel formula with a certain error. You are seeing nice dependence on angle of incidence. However, if you use an incandescent source, that is an unpolarized source, you will see that the dependence on the angle of incidence will be much lesser. You understand? You can do statistics on that and actually show that the angle of incidence dependence on laser light is much higher than the angle of incidence dependence of unpolarized light. You understand what I'm saying, guys? So I am not expecting a precise experiment. Huh?
Yeah, for laser pointer, we have like a theoretical relation. If we're assuming, so that we can compare. But for the unpolarized light, we don't have any
No,
theoretical
you should
relation
no
for
no no
which
no 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 no. If you use glass, no, not theoretical. You will see no change. Arey Baba, if you get suppose you get 10% reflectance. Suppose it's 10% reflectance. You will see that 10% reflectance will always be 10%. 10% will change to 8%, it will change to 12%, but it will not change to 30%. You understand? At 10%, the mean will be 10% irrespective of angle of incidence. Is that clear?
okay,
What I'm
okay.
trying to say is that irrespective of angle of incidence, you will get the same reflectivity if you use unpolarized light. If you use polarized light, you will see a dependence on angle of incidence. I want the class to verify this. I am not giving this as an assignment. I am giving this as a learning experience. Learning experience, physics with home apparatus. Just this. This is a very nice concept which you can convince yourself, and I'll bet you guys, if you do this really, you will never forget this in your lives. Whatever you do as a career in the rest of your lives, you'll always remember. In 2020, we did an experiment where we actually proved that the laser pointer, when you change the angle of incidence, the reflectivity changes. If I use bulb or tube light, it is mostly the same. You will never forget this in your life. This will probably be an experience. ये हमारा कोर्स आपको थोड़ा याद रहेगा. Okay. So yeah, this was a very complete.
Sir,
Tell me.
can you get back that previous slide where you have taken that mixed polarized SP and
this one.
yes. So here you that alpha beta can be anything, right? And you find out that that amplitude is simply alpha r perpendicular plus beta r parallel.
Whatever.
And, yes, and for unpolarized light, you are saying that alpha beta equals to 1 by root 2.
Something like that. That is what I assume. Can we do this simulation actually? So what I'm saying is that basically whatever reflectance you get will be that given by the normal incidence relation. That is, the polarization will not play any role. You will just get as a ratio of the two refractive indices.
No, that R lambda, R parallel and R perpendicular is dependent on theta, right? That previous thing.
No. R parallel, R perpendicular is the input light. Why will that depend on theta? That is the input light. Again, you are confusing between angle of incidence and the angle and the polarization angle. Polarization angle is a certain. R parallel is basically So okay. So see, R parallel is basically for the P component. Okay, and R perpendicular is for the S component. Okay, so I think that if you come with theta angle for the R parallel, you will get a certain reflectivity. I mean, sorry, if you come with theta angle for the P component. So for the theta angle for the P component, you get one R parallel. Okay? And for the same theta angle, you will get an R perpendicular. So the resultant reflectivity will be the combination of the percentage of the P polarization in the light and the percentage of the S polarization of the light. That is what I'm saying.
And that is dependent on theta, right?
For a particular theta, you will get that, obviously. So that for unpolarized
dependent on theta.
For different theta, that will be different, of course.
Yes, for unpolarized light,
that should not.
You are saying that simply you are changing alpha beta equals to 1 by root 2.
I'm saying that there should be
for unpolarized.
It should be independent. It should be just same. Whatever theta we give, that ratio will the reflectivity should not change.
That is a bit okay.
I'm saying, because I don't think that because what angle will you take, Biswajit? Because all the angles, for every incident angle, you will have some electric field which has the all possible angles are allowed for all possible angles of incidence.
But theoretically, experimentally, it can. But theoretically, and this is
See,
How can you verify that thing?
theoretically,
because
I agree.
yes, because
Uh.
because you are considering that alpha are parallel plus beta are perpendicular, and you are taking alpha beta as 1 by root 2.
Basically, what I'm saying is, so Bishwajit, maybe that averaging we have to do. Yeah, I think if we can find out a really good theory for this, it will be nice. I mean, maybe we can look at the polarizer theory, how people do. Because see, we should take, I don't know, maybe Jivan can also think, man, for unpolarized light, I don't know, it's going to get very complicated because we probably can take degree of polarization and all that.
Because otherwise, means theoretically, from here it will not come. No, I mean, I was thinking
It's not
that
going to be easy. It's not going to be easy.
still depend on theta.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's difficult to say no, but then possibly if we take a theta average, but then all thetas are expected, right? I'm saying, see, the probability distribution of theta is like 1. I mean, all of the thetas are present everywhere. So actually, my question is, does the reflectivity just change by the refractive index ratio, or will there be a general factor that comes, when you pass unpolarized light through a polarizer? I don't think so, because I think you're just going to get a ratio of the reflectances. Ratio of the refractive indices. Anyway, I really request at least some members of the class to try to verify this, because I am curious, and
sir, that's why when we pass unpolarized light through a polarizer, and we take the output intensity at half, so number I0 by 2. So it is kind of that from Mallard's law, I0 cos theta. So we take theta to be 45 degree. So maybe same thing happens here. Or?
That also is, I don't, average theta you are saying. Some average theta.
Yes. Yes. And
I can only say that
the maximum.
Yeah. I agree what you're saying. You're saying the average theta is 45. So therefore, here also, if you do that, maybe it will, I don't know. So again, I ask the class to come up with a good theory of this. If we can, then, at some point of time, I think we should put this in textbooks so that this thing is discussed, because I don't see any discussion on this on any textbook. And I think you will agree with me. You can look at whatever textbooks on optics you find, and I don't think there is any discussion on this at all. Okay. So, I think, I hope you guys like this discussion, because we have completely deviated from what we were doing, but I think it was completely worth it. So do you guys agree? Do you think we should have discussions like this at times?
Yes, sir.
So I would think that, this online thing is a mess. So for you to retain active interest in the course, I think I would suggest that we have discussions like this generally. Okay. So next class we will continue. We will finish the optics of metals. I will give an assignment as well. So remember, next assignment is due next week. On Thursday. But please, somebody do this experiment and verify. Please verify what we discussed today. I think this is really interesting. Let me stop presenting and just show myself at the end. Right. So, so I think some of you should come ahead and do this, compare results, see if we can prove this. It would be very good learning experience for you. And it would help me as well, to verify that what we discussed today is right. Okay. 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 So let me stop recording, and we shall meet next Thursday and finish off optics of metals.